Hello everyone, welcome to So Janelle. I'm your host Janelle. So May has been a very busy month. We opened with Asian Pacific Islander American Heritage Month, discussing the very timely and very critical topic and issue of xenophobia and the rising anti-Asian sentiment here in the US. As Asians, we have to contend with that as well, and so we encourage you that even if the month is ending, you still have to be involved. We still have to keep this conversation going. If you missed that interview, make sure that you check us out online, where we are always on, also posting extended versions of our interview segments. Check us out on YouTube, www.youtube.com/sojanelle, and make sure that you turn on your notifications so you know when we are posting new videos. Also, this month of May, we celebrated Mother's Day, and we also celebrated Nurses Week and Nurses Day with a tribute for them. All that will be on our YouTube as well. If you missed any of those, make sure you catch us on YouTube. Last week on the show, we also talked about pivoting, how businesses are changing their strategy, their services, their offerings to the public in order to cope with our new normal. Today on the show, as we cap off the month of May, we want to talk about Bayanihan, the spirit of Bayanihan here in America, by doing segments on some of the organizations that are raising relief funds and helping Filipinos, not just here in the US, but also frontliners in the Philippines or Filipinos in the Philippines as well. We're going to be opening with an interview with the National Vice Chair of NaFFAA National, talking about their program called Tulong Sulo, Bayanihan from America to the Philippines. National Vice Chair of NaFFAA National, Mariela Fletcher. Hello and welcome to So Janelle.
Hello, Janelle. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for joining us. But more than that, thank you for your service to the community through NaFFAA National. I know that a lot of you guys who have been serving since its inception have been there, have stayed on, doing this on your spare time as volunteer work, not getting anything, not getting paid, and still you're dipping into your resources to help. Tell us about Tulong Sulo.
Part of NaFFA's advocacy actually is also assistance to our kababayans, not only here in the US, but also in the Philippines. And so Tulong Sulo came about as a project together with PHC, which is a Philippine Humanitarian Coalition. It is a food assistance project to help our kababayans back home to put basic food on their table because of COVID. There is so much scarcity of food for our kababayans in the Philippines. And so it's become so worrisome, especially for the jeepney drivers, the tricycle drivers, and the taxi drivers, and even our market vendors, and the street vendors and workers in small businesses. So even the farmers as well. And I have a classmate who has a farm, and all of their produce is just going to waste because there's really nothing happening. They can't even sell any of their produce. So we are all feeling this economic downturn. So we now here in the United States are really so much luckier because we have the stimulus check, we have
PPP, EIDL.
This is now an opportunity for us to really share what we have with our kababayans.
And this is good. They say you can take the Filipinos out of the Philippines, but never the Philippines out of the Filipinos. And I always say that. And this is one example of that. That even though we're so far away and we've lived here for many years now, we still want to help our kababayans back home. So far, can you share figures on how much you've raised and whom you have helped?
So our partner, that is the Philippine Humanitarian Coalition, was able to actually solicit $4,000 already, plus another $1,000 together with us. So we are able to feed 500 families already in Manila. And then another batch of about $2,000 is now happening in Bacolod to feed a lot of the tricycle drivers as well. And so for NAFFA's part, in some of the regions, just like Nevada, we were able to collect $2,000 already from San Diego, $1,000, and from our Rocky Mountain, which is Colorado, we have $500, and we are already going to mobilize this to Silang Cavite, to Payatas, are some of the areas that we're going to service. So we have ongoing asking for donations so that we can share our blessings with our kababayans in the Philippines.
I know that this show specifically, we're talking about helping. We're talking about the Filipino Bayanihan spirit. And so many organizations are putting together different drives. There's some like yourselves who are helping the Filipinos back home. There's some like some of the people that we'll talk to later are helping some of the frontliners here in the States that are closer to home. How do you then make your case and your drive and your Tulong Sulo program stand out?
When organizations donate, it is money that is actually donated by several members of the organization. And that's all the money is pulled together, which means to say bigger, more meaningful in some. Which means to say when there's a bigger amount, we can buy the food that is distributed to a larger number of families in a designated needy area. So the bigger the donation, the more families we are able to feed in that area because it is cost effective. It is also more efficient in the distribution process. We also give our donors the opportunity to choose their designated recipient.
So it's just $10. So for some people, if you don't drink gourmet coffee for 2-3 days, then you have raised that $10 for the needy in the Philippines, the hungry, and you put food on their table. It's not just coffee. But Mariela, for some people that are asking, $10, if I donate my $10, how much of that $10 goes to those people and how much is left for like the organization as an overhead expense?
Your $10 will go as $10 directly to the recipient. So your donation is wired directly to our NGO or our boots on the ground, who are the volunteers. There's no in-between or no intermediary organization or entity in between.
And when you donate to NaFFAA, since NaFFAA is a 501c3, you get your donation is also a tax write-off, correct?
We will acknowledge all donations as required by IRS Section 501c3, in addition to receipts, accountability reports, and pictures of the distribution. So yes, it's tax deductible, in other words.
You also take photos that you share on Facebook with the organizations that have donated. And also, as an individual donating, when I see photos like that where the money actually went to, it warms the heart.
It is very heartwarming to see our friends, our kababayans here in the U.S. help our kababayans over in the Philippines. So the pandemic crisis is so unprecedented and it's still ongoing. If you or your organization is willing to open your hearts, your hands, pocketbooks, and be one of those who will put basic food on the tables of our kababayans, we in NaFFAA and in partnership with PHC are soliciting donations to continue Tulong Sulo Food Assistance Program. You can donate at www.naffa.org. We will all get over this. When we all collectively share our money together, we share our table with them. So $10 or 500 pesos will feed a family of 4 for a few days. We have a long way to go, but thank you so much for your continued support.
Thank you so much for spearheading this project, and thank you for your service as well. Thank you for joining us here on Sojanel. Also, very critical at this point is managing our finances because we don't know what's going to happen. We would like to remind everyone the states, the country, the world is slowly opening up for the economy, but not because it is safe. So we still continue to be safe, but at the same time, thinking about the economy, thinking about those who have lost their jobs, thinking about those who have been furloughed, thinking of those who have lost their income and lost lives of their loved ones. So our hearts and thoughts go out to them. But going back to managing our finances in the time of global pandemic, Rod Mercado of Financial Rescue has a lot of valuable advice for us. Here he is once again on So Rescued. Rod, it's not just individuals that have lost their jobs, have been furloughed. A lot of people are also struggling, especially the small business owners. A lot of Filipinos own small businesses. How can we help them, Rod?
We have 30 million small businesses in the US. So what does it mean? That comprises 99.9% of the businesses here in the US. So talagang ito yung backbone ng economy natin. So what I'm saying is the economic health of the country literally depends on the financial health of the small businesses in the US.
And the vast majority of employers have already attempted to take advantage of the Paycheck Protection Program, yung PPP. It's been rolled out by the federal government just to attest to the fact of the importance of these small businesses. And Rod, as of May 7, there is still approximately $125 billion of PPP funding available.
We're talking about short-term financial relief here. So yung PPP na yan, kung may mga kababayan tayong have not availed of that, I think this is the right time, Pag-aralan nila kung paano ba mag-apply at makakuha ng loans. If you would qualify, then it's a big thing, you would be able to at least, hopefully, survive the crisis in a shorter term. Right. But that is not enough. And that's the reason why we would like to have this discussion on what we can do going forward. There's so many ways that you can do. One is to look beyond your immediate organization. After mong makahiram siguro ng PPP, nagkaroon ka na ng some sort of funding there, teka muna, what about the community of yung mga stakeholders mo? Yung mga tinatawag nating suppliers mo. Paano kung sila naman yung nahihirapan? Ano ba ang pwede mong itulong? Baka pwedeng this time, kung talaga nahihirapan na siya, and you're able to get some support financially, baka pwede mo siyang tulungan na mag-extend ka ng loan sa kanya or magbayad ka ng, you pay them in advance,
That's a good point because a lot of people are saying, I'm safe, I got PPP, or I'm still okay. But yeah, sometimes we forget na yung mga affiliates, vendors, agencies that support us naman as a business, they may be affected. And that's a good point, Rod. Bringing us to number 2, planning ahead.
Kapag nagpaplano tayo, of course, long-term na to, titignan natin, okay, we're currently in this situation. You cannot just say, okay, so survive ko lang to for 3 or 6 months. Because in a pandemic like this, ganitong kalaki, hindi yan matatapos in less than a year or in a year's time. Mag-extend yan. So we really have to look into this situation and plan long-term, I would say for the next 5 years.
Right.
So kung nakikita mo na yung approved source mo ngayon ay naapektuhan na ng crisis, then maybe either you help them develop or go through the crisis or look for somebody else who can replace them. So plano na yon. So if you're thinking now you need another supply in the next 3 years, ngayon pa lang pag-aralan mo na.
Also, kung pwede rin nating baliktarin, Rod, kasi pwede rin, kung ikaw naman ay nahihirapan, look through your immediate associates and affiliates. Baka sila, they can also provide help for you. Because taking steps today to protect your key contributors will provide long-term benefits as the economy begins to reopen. Another suggestion that you're making here on how employers can survive and thrive is to scale back cell phone and insurance plans as a company.
One thing that I implemented immediately, and they can attest to this, is what I call cost containment program. So immediately, ni-revisit namin. Alam mo ba na, teka muna, ang dami pa pala nating mga email addresses na has been there na hindi na ginagamit and we're still paying $10 a year. So natuto kami ngayon hanapin yung mga areas where we can possibly save. Yeah. And we end up saving a lot of money.
Another point that you can say is renegotiate your bills.
Pwedeng kung may mga suppliers ka na talagang stable, pwede mo din kausapin sila na extend yung terms. The key is think outside the box.
Right. And one way of thinking outside the box is also considering a temporary job, work during this pandemic. Some jobs are actually in demand, Rod.
Exactly, right? And even for we're talking about companies also, right? Yung ibang company ngayon, like in myself, I'm looking at other programs that I can offer to the public because nagbabago yung needs eh. Like marami ako nakitang mga company ngayon na medyo nagda-diversify. Ang dami nang nagma-manufacture ng
masks
Max, gawin natin to, Pabutihin natin yung sarili natin sa panahon na nagkakaroon tayo ng crisis. Huwag tayong pangpanghinaan ng loob.
Exactly.
Maraming pwedeng gawin at maraming tao na po pwedeng tumulong sa iyo.
Which brings me to our last point for today. Get help with debt relief during the coronavirus pandemic.
May program kami para sa mga frontliners or first responders. Special pricing for them.
Rod, we would like to remind everyone, aside from those special pricing, Rod Mercado and the rest of his hardworking men and women of Financial Rescue, they offer free, no obligation consultation. Don't delay. Now is the time to call. Rod, thank you so much for helping our people.
Mag-ingat po kayo palagi at isipin din natin ang kapakanan ng ibang tao. So, kung ano man ang mandate ng state or ng federal, sundin po natin.
Thank you so much for making time for us here on Sojanel. We hope that you are picking up some nuggets, some helpful tools, some accurate information, some culturally relevant details and news as well, as we behind the scenes work very hard to give you some of these here on our show. Of course, we are being seen on TV, on TFC, on Lifestyle Network, also on LA 18 on Fridays at 5 p.m. We are available now online. Catch us on YouTube. This is commercial free, where we also invite our guests and you can also interact with them. That's on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Thursday morning at 11 a.m. For those friends and loved ones of you guys, please share with them. If they live in the Philippines, they can also catch us on YouTube. Meanwhile, back here on the show today, we are shining a spotlight on the spirit of Bayanihan, which is very unique to us Filipinos. And that's why, even though we're all suffering from this global pandemic, everyone is doing his or her share. Organizations, individuals bonding together to be able to help in any way that we can. Chairman of NaFFAA Greater Los Angeles, Noel Omega, hello and welcome to Sojanel.
Very happy to be here, Janelle.
Noel, this show we're designing so that we can highlight and shine a spotlight on the Bayanihan, the Filipino spirit of Bayanihan, which is helping each other. NaFFAA GLA is now gathering donations to feed the frontliners here in America. Can you tell us more about this program?
It's consistent with the NaFFAA national objective of helping Filipino Americans, but we are the boots on the ground here in the greater Los Angeles area, in particular 6 counties around greater Los Angeles itself. We are working with groups or institutions to put together, in this case, gift certificates for frontliners, Filipino Americans, in this fight of the COVID-19 pandemic. Currently, we were able to secure a total of 1,050, probably even more once we are complete with the other matching donations, from the Federation of Filipino American Chambers of Commerce, which is a collaborative group for NaFFAA, and they were able to secure through Seafood City some gift certificates in $25 denominations. So we were able to receive $500 from them for the greater Los Angeles area, and we were able to match that with $550 so far from our own board members. And so that's a total of 1,050 that we've divided into 3 groups to be given throughout greater Los Angeles, namely Northern LA, which is the San Fernando Valley, Santa Clarita area, downtown LA, and the other one would be in the South Bay Carson area.
So these are gift certificates at Seafood City, which is a premier Filipino American supermarket chain. How did you come up with the division of where you're going to give this help to?
The LA County has the most number of COVID-19 patients. And so it just goes on to say that there are many Filipinos and Filipino Americans that are fighting that COVID-19 pandemic here in the greater LA area.
For this particular program, are you still asking the public to donate? Because this could be a time for them to also, somebody has an extra $10, $20, $15, even $5, anything will help, right?
That's correct. Therefore, we appeal to the different businesses who'd like to serve the frontliners in the Filipino American communities in the greater Los Angeles area, please do contact us. One of our board members, contact me, or they can contact you, Janelle, since you're one of our board members, and ask how they may contribute. And what we will do is we as a board will get together in probably weekly or timely fashion to identify how we're going to redistribute additional funds. Or we're also thinking that if we have frontliners that feel that they were not included on this list of frontliners, they can contact us directly and we can try to connect them with relief resources as well.
And what we want to focus, or what we want to emphasize in what you just said, is this is just the first batch. So we're hoping to raise more in the coming weeks, in the coming months, because this is an ongoing thing, obviously, and we're going to treat it as that. As we keep getting donations, we're going to keep identifying other groups that may need help. Correct, Noel?
As we move forward, part of our civic engagement is to identify where the need exists. And we as a board will then act accordingly in order to be able to serve the greater Filipino American communities. And this past, they happen to be the frontliners. They're very, very much needed at this time, and their service is really appreciated.
This is your example of Bayanihan, the Filipino spirit in America. Our chairman at NaFFAA Greater Los Angeles, Noel Mega, thank you so much. More power and God bless.
Thank you, and appreciate your participation in this one, Janelle. We're very proud that you're a part of NaFFAA Greater Los Angeles.
Thank you so much for sharing your time here with us on So Janelle as we highlight some of the individuals, the groups, the organizations that are coming together. Despite each one of us suffering our own losses because of this global pandemic, a lot of us are looking outward how we can help others who may need those help. Earlier, we heard from NaFFAA National feeding the Filipinos back home in the Philippines, and then we heard from NaFFAA GLA, or Greater Los Angeles, where they are feeding the frontliners here in Greater Los Angeles. And right about now, talking to a man behind Cultivate Labs who has come up with the hashtag Feed the Frontlines. Desi Danganan of Cultivate Labs, hello and welcome to So Janelle.
Hi, Janelle. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for coming up with Filipinos Feed the Frontliners. Can you tell us what this is about?
Filipinos Feed the Frontlines is a nationwide crowdfunding campaign designed to stabilize Filipino businesses and help those in the front line and feed those in need.
This is actually very smart because what you're doing is you're gathering donations to pay the restaurants that are struggling in order to feed the frontliners. How did this idea come about?
Yeah, well, at Cultivate Labs, we're a nonprofit business incubator, so we have a lot of Filipino food businesses in our network, and I was in an email thread where a lot of the Filipino businesses were throwing out ideas of how to try to stabilize their drop in revenue, and one of them thought of, hey, we should donate food to the frontliners. And I was like, hey, I mean, that's a great idea, but we shouldn't be donating food. We need to keep you stabilized to get you paid to do it. And then I was also in another thread with a bunch of SOMA South of Market nonprofit executive directors and found out there was a big need on the ground to feed a lot of our low income and seniors in SOMA Filipinas. So I figured why not we connect all three together, stabilizing Filipino businesses, showing our appreciation to our healthcare workers, and feeding those in need.
How long has this been going on?
So the campaign has been going on for a little over 40 days. And last I checked this morning, I think we're at $86,000 of a $100,000 goal. So it's been really great to see our whole community gather around and support a really important campaign like this.
And what kind of reception and support are you receiving from the public?
I mean, the response has been overwhelming. We actually get donations not just in the Bay Area, but there's a large cluster of Filipinos in LA donating to our cause. There are Filipinos as far off as Arkansas, Florida. There's a group in New York. And so it's been really amazing seeing the spirit of BAYANIHAN come together to really help our cause here in the Bay Area.
And how are the restaurants doing?
The restaurants are doing better. The crisis is not over with COVID-19. The economic destruction is, still unveiling itself. And definitely the money that we've raised, the $86,000, has definitely been a lifeline to a lot of these businesses. And, the other thing that we're really happy about is that we're actually able to kind of feed our community as much as we can. In the past, it's been about 6 weeks now, we've have distributed over 8,000 meals and growing.
This is really quite amazing. Do you see this? Are you getting nudged by Filipinos from outside of San Francisco, perhaps Northern California, to maybe do something like that in their own communities? Because it should be done.
Yes. We're actually seeing that there are other communities, other Filipino communities, all over the nation using our hashtag Filipinos Feed the Frontline. So it's not a Bay Area only phenomenon. It's starting to catch on all across the nation.
So how long are you planning on doing this?
When we first started the campaign, it was really just a Hail Mary, and we came up with a nice round number, $100,000, not really knowing what the deep impacts were of COVID-19 and the depths of this Great Depression that we're headed into. And so because our crisis is not going to end in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or even in 3 months, we're going to keep this going, and we're going to find ways to expand our program beyond the Bay Area and bring it to LA, New York, where there are other Filipino communities in need of a program like this.
And the plan beyond COVID, have you thought of that yet?
We have. There is definitely, the triaging work that is required now, of feeding our community and stabilizing businesses. But then there's also the next phase, which is economic recovery and how are we going to come out stronger. So we actually have been unveiling some plans of what we're going to be doing in the cultural district to stabilize our community. One of those initiatives that we're unveiling is called Kapwa Gardens. It's a COVID-19 friendly public gathering space. So you can go to the website kapwagardens.com and you can see all kinds of renderings of this new public gathering space that we're designing for a post-COVID-19 world.
Right. Well, thank you so much for now, Desi. You have already done so much.
Cool. Hopefully I'll come on for brighter ideas and not necessarily to address crises.
When you hear from Filipinos or individuals or groups who, in spite of their suffering also, everyone has taken a hit because of this global pandemic in one way or another, and yet we are still reaching out, going out of ourselves in order to help where it's needed. It makes me proud to be Filipino. It makes me proud that we have this unique thing called Bayanihan in our community. So maraming salamat sa lahat ng pagtulong. And of course, if we can, let's help in any way we can. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Make sure you catch us on YouTube, www.youtube.com/SoJanelle. Of course, keep our weekly dates on TV. Same time, same channel. I'm your host, Janelle So, and this has been So Janelle.